Recognized, Uncle Walker, D01. Recognized, Emily of Arden, D12. Initiate comic commentary.
Hello team, welcome to Comic Commentary. Tie-in issues 3 and 4. In this series we'll be reviewing the Young Justice tie-in comics that folded directly into the story arcs of the animated series. My name's Rich, and I'm here with my amazing co-host Emily.
Hi everybody. In Comic Commentary, we will be discussing how the tie-in comics relate to the video game, the first 2 seasons of Young Justice, and the broader DC universe. Unlike our regular review episodes, we won't be having a Crashing the Mode segment, so consider this your spoiler warning.
If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter at the YJ Files, on Facebook at Crashing the Mode, on our website crashingthemode.com, on the yjfiles.tumblr.com, and at our email address whelmedpodcast@gmail.com. And with all that out of the way, let's hand it back to Emily for...
Hello, Megan!
Today we're talking about issues 3 and 4 of the tie-in comics, which were titled Hack and You Shall Find and By Hook or By Web. The issues were released on April 20th and May 18th of 2011, respectively. The timestamps for these 2 issues are July 9th and July 10th, and it ties in to the episodes Fireworks and Welcome to Happy Harbor. It took place between those 2.
The writers for this were once again Franco Orellani and Art Baltazar, the penciler and inker, Mike Norton. Colors were by Zach Atkinson, and the letterer was Carlos M. Mangual.
Just in time for your next mission.
So this first issue opens up in a shadowy boardroom where we see the League of Shadows field leader, Sensei, talking about how their employers are ending corporate relations with several companies that had connections with Cadmus. He shows a picture of a woman to 2 mysterious individuals, implying that they need to take care of the problem.
We cut to Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad at a cafe, where Robin is explaining that he's discovered what he thinks is a conspiracy to take out various corporate personnel through accidents, muggings gone wrong, etc. He shows them a picture of Selena Gonzalez, the CEO that Robin believes is the next target, and he talks the 2 into joining him to keep an eye on her as a practice session.
The 3 sidekicks then stake out her office until she is attacked by Black Spider and Hook, members of the League of Assassins. Due to some bad teamwork and poor communication, Aqualad, Robin, and Kid Flash are all captured, leading us into By Hook or By Web. The 3 manage to escape, eventually working together under Aqualad's leadership to capture Hook and Black Spider, but then find out that Miss Gonzalez has run away.
And our final scene is the 3 watching a news broadcast discussing the disappearance of Miss Gonzalez and the destruction of her office, as well as reporting that both Black Spider and Hook escaped custody. Robin puts together that Hook and Black Spider must have had help escaping from outside assistance, which also means they likely had help outside the building during the fight. Then all 3 realize that Miss Gonzalez isn't likely in hiding, but has probably been killed. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's...
This appeared on the kids' comic book shelf at most comic book stores and ends with an innocent human being being murdered.
Yeah.
Off panel, but still.
And the hero's failing. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into that.
Superboy, are you alright?
I'm fine. Feeling the Aster.
You go first this time, Emily. I think I went first the last couple times.
Cool. So with this issue, I do like that we open up with a little team bonding between the 3 core original members and getting to see them out kind of being normal teenagers a little bit. Like they're all drinking coffee at a cafe.
Cafe sugar.
Because that's how places are named.
Yeah.
It works. But I liked that, and I liked that we got to see the 3 of them being a team again. Because they're the original 3. It's nice. And I like how before the 2 issues are even over, Calder is already the voice of reason among this group and is a really good leader, and we get to see that for a little bit before he actually officially becomes team leader.
Right.
But even more so, he's just the very tired mom friend trying to corral these 2. Yeah. He's just like, the strategy has not worked before. Why are you trying it again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I liked that. One thing that I did notice when I was reading this that stood out to me was that there's a really weird random continuity error between these two issues, which is that Miss Gonzalez's outfit changes colors between issues. It's the exact same outfit, but the color just chose a completely different color palette between issues. Right. I think it's like brown. It's a brown suit in the first half and then a blue suit in the second half, even though it's supposed to be like the same day. So I'm like,
there's definitely like some, like Robin's wearing, his jacket's a different color. He's wearing like a bright red jacket in the comic, but the jacket he wears is more subdued in the animated series, but at least it's consistent within the issue, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I can believe Robin owns more than one jacket. I can go with that.
Oh, but like it's literally like in the scene from the animated series that they redrew for the comic. Like it's the same like day. Like it's the same like scene even.
Yeah. I get what
it happens.
Saying. Speaking of Robin though, I love that he just very calmly escapes from the rope trap that they're in using his utility belt like it's no big deal. It's like, you didn't take my utility belt. You're what? The thing that helps us escape.
You guys are all in our face about being pros, and you didn't even take my utility belt. That's just dumb.
Yeah. But
go, Robin, go.
With these two issues, with this little arc, there was one thing that kind of annoyed me. Well, there's kind of like two things, and one is a sub-note of the other. One is that Kid Flash is very not chill in these two issues. Like, we see Kid Flash being very not chill on the show and hitting on every woman he meets. Yeah. And we've been talking about season 2 where he's much better. So I forgot a little bit how bad it was in season 1. But I feel like this issue is even worse than he is in the show a little bit. Yeah. Like it's a little more exaggerated than normal. Because he's hitting on a CEO of a company who is clearly a fully grown woman and attempting to ask her out.
Yeah,
like,
when he's 15, 16? Yeah.
That's 15. He's not even 16.
Right, yeah.
He's a child.
Yeah, if she said yes, dude, that would be really uncool and illegal.
Yeah, that would just be creepy.
Yeah.
Like, don't even present that as an option.
Yeah.
And she doesn't tell him off, which also kind of, like, like, at least Black Canary, when he attempts to hit on Black Canary, is like, and you're going to hit the floor. Don't do that.
It just seems like if you did that in real life, like a CEO of a company, like a proper adult would be just looking at you and just saying like, please stop, child. Like literally, like I will make you feel like the age you should be feeling right now. Like you need to stop. This is in no way okay. And it's not like he's hitting on like a girl of his own age. Like, I mean, it is a little weird. Yeah.
To me, it feels like it was early days of the comic, and it was early days of the show too. I can chalk it up to somebody was like, one of Wally's core characteristics is that he flirts with everyone, and the writers of the issue just kind of ran with it a little too far.
Too far when you're talking about a CEO of a company. Yeah, it's strange. But I'm on the same page as you on that one.
Yeah. And the other thing with this issue, these two issues that kind of annoyed me as I was rereading them, is something that both the team and the villains fall into when talking that just annoyed me. That is, the CEO's name is Selena Gonzalez. We have established that she has a name, that the team knows what her name is, that the villains presumably also know what her name is. She is a person who we know. And throughout a large portion of especially the second issue, when they are interacting with her, most of them simply refer to her as the girl, or even less of the time, the woman. And I'm like, it just comes off as incredibly demeaning for a lot of this. Yeah. Like, this is a successful adult woman who you are trying to murder and or protect because she's just that important. Right. And you're referring to her as the girl. Just had me rolling my eyes a bit throughout this.
I mean, she's a MacGuffin. Like, she's the reason why they're doing the adventure, but that doesn't mean you need to treat her like an item. You know, you can be better than that.
And like, if it was just the villains doing it, I'd be like, okay,
they're villains.
Villains are just jerks, whatever.
Right. They don't want to think of her as a person because they're going to kill her. Right.
Yeah, that I can totally understand. But the fact that it's KF and Robin and Aqualad all doing it has me like, I'm not my favorite choice.
Right. I agree with you. I have no debate with this.
Getting down off my soapbox.
What I do like about this was I like how Kid Flash and Robin were each trying to use techniques, obviously, that they learned from their mentors, and it totally is an issue. But I also have to point out Maneuver 63. Like, Robin says Maneuver 63.
Yep.
I mean, in my head, I thought, like, either like Maneuver 7, Maneuver 10, like, okay, there's like a dozen of these maneuvers. 63? Really?
Yeah. It's a lot for a poor 13-year-old boy to memorize.
Well, it's a lot for being practical in a combat. That's just,
it's too many options.
It's like, Batman, maneuver 47 subsection 3. Like, really? Like, you just don't know that? I don't know. Strange. 63. Oof.
With that scene, though, one thing that I did really like that they picked for that is that it kind of seems like they're sort of trying to do the same move almost, but like from different perspectives on it. Like they have a different role with their mentor when they do it. But also the fact that Robin all of their maneuvers are numbered, and then Flash and Kid Flash have like snappy little names for all of their plans.
The high-low maneuver.
That just amused me. That I liked that. I was like, oh, that's clever.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. People may have noticed that our mission briefing was very short for these 2 episodes.
Issues?
Because, did I say episodes? We're going to do that the whole time, guys. Just get used to it. I'm just telling you. There's a lot of fighting. And I have to say, Hook just isn't a very interesting combatant. They try really hard to make him interesting with this hook. It's a big hook. It's like a freakishly, inappropriately gigantic hook. Like, they show like some art pieces where the hook like ties into his chest muscles and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, at least there's some attempt at showing that they're trying to make the rest of his body sturdy. But this hook is huge. It's not even sharp. It's just blunt on all edges. I'm just like, why aren't you just like part of a rescue team and just like, hooking up vehicles and pulling them out of ditches and stuff? I don't understand why. I just don't get Hook. I don't get him in the series. I don't get him here. I don't understand why is he an assassin. Are you bludgeoning people to death? You don't have a gun? Like, I just don't understand him at all. Having said...
He intimidates people to death.
Does he, though? Does he? No. I'm not convinced.
No, not at all.
I'm unconvinced. I have to say that I absolutely love seeing Black Spider again. I love Black Spider in the series. I think he's hilarious, the way that they use him to, kind of be evil Peter Parker, particularly when we get to see him quipping and stuff, and they got, the voice actor for Spectacular Spider-Man to do his voice and stuff. I love that. Not so much with the Hook. Love the Black Spider, though. And then, like, the biggest thing in this whole thing, like, huge amounts of fighting that was like, whatever, it's fine, but not interesting. Their target died.
Yo.
She died. They didn't manage to protect her. There is so much that's interesting and disturbing and potentially feeds into them wanting more than ever to learn to be a team, because they chose to go out to be a team, to practice being a team, to protect this woman, which is something I can see any one of them doing individually. And they messed it up. And she's dead now. Like, I had to sit with that. Yeah. Every time I reread this issue, every time I reread both of these issues, because of the fight, just kind of like, it's a little goofy and it's funny. And Kid Flash is like drinking a bunch of like, power energy drinks and stuff like that. I'm just like completely taken off guard about this like freaking weight that gets dropped on you in the last panel. So interesting. Oy.
So I wish that there was more exploration of that. Like,
Me too.
I know there isn't time, and it is a children's series, and all of the reasons why they can't. But I'm like,
yeah,
I get these kids back in therapy for a minute. Let them talk to Black Canary.
Right, exactly. If you're gonna drop that weight, I don't know, like, you should do something about that. Like, even if like a later issue they flash back to it and they talk about it a little bit, something happened later, which I don't think happens, but it's been a while. If you're going to drop that kind of weight, you're going to choose that she died and that we weren't sure, or like they were like, you know what, maybe she's in hiding, or maybe she died, we're not sure, we're hoping she's in hiding. But no, they make it very clear. They're like, does that mean that she's, and then the implication is no, she's definitely been murdered. Like, it's good. It's good because it leads to some interesting character development moments. Like, again, pressure for them not to be goofing off, to like really be focusing on being a team, because lives are on the line. But then we don't get much of any of that in Drop Zone. Like, they're still doing the same stuff in Drop Zone, so they didn't really learn from this thing. Like even if Kid Flash had said, or somebody had said, like, hey guys, remember that, you know, the CEO incident, or, you know, remember Gonzalez, or some reference would have been interesting.
It just, part of it is that the show needs to function without the comics, just
I hear you.
It has to. But yeah, no, I totally hear you. And
I think you can function without the comics and still make reference to things in the comics. Like, you don't have to know it. Like, you can wrap it in, and the writers for Young Justice are good enough to be able to put that in. But man, they don't typically do something this heavy, like them failing this badly without addressing it in some way. So it's a good end to the story. I think it's an interesting end to the story.
I think another thing that adds on to like the impact of that, and the impact of the fact that she does not survive this, is the fact that it's an unsanctioned mission, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, totally
like,
unsanctioned.
This was Robin just being like, I think we should go handle this, and everybody being like, sure, we won't tell the League or anything. And then they get a woman killed.
And the thing is, when you read that opening conversation, it's a little weird. Like, multiple times they go over the same piece of information, because multiple times Aqualad's like, all right, let me get this straight one more time. You want us to you want us to do a thing that you think might be happening, but you can't tell us why it might be happening, to help protect a girl that might be there, but she might also be being targeted by the League of Shadows? None of this sounds okay. Like, I think he asked that like 3 times at the beginning of this, and you know what?
Yep.
He was right. I mean, they should have told someone. I don't know.
Calder is the very tired mom friend.
Right.
Everyone's like, let's go on this solo adventure without telling anyone. And Calder's just like, no, that's how people wind up dead.
Right.
Don't do that.
Oh, look. And
make better choices.
Right. All right. Well, enough of that depressing topic.
Let's move on to something happier.
Let's do it. Let's move on to some artistic license.
Have all 4 sidekicks ever been in the same place at the same time?
Don't call us sidekicks.
In artistic license, we're going to be recommending issues, miniseries, and graphic novel collections that we think that you will enjoy, both from DC and other companies who have titles we think Young Justice fans will enjoy. It's designed to give you an on-ramp into some of the classic story arcs of the past, so that you might catch a glimpse of what's to come in the future. A couple things I wanted to recommend were actually Kid Flash story arcs. We get some Kid Flash in this one, so I figured we might as well do that. I have mentioned several times on the show the 0-hour issue of The Flash. We're going to put a link to it in the show notes. Once again, you can get this on Comixology. I think it's like $1.99. This 0-hour story is the story that made me a Wally West fan, where he is trapped in the time stream and he goes back in time and meets with himself. And basically, you get to really jump on that bandwagon of who is Wally West and what is his defining trait. And his defining trait is he loves his life and loves being a hero. But just around that same time, there was the writer that's Mark Waid, who's also one of the best comic writers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. But he did a whole bunch of runs on The Flash and on Impulse as well. And one of the arcs that he did introduces the concept of the Speed Force, which is kind of, I don't know, it's just, it's everywhere now. The crossover arc was called Dead Heat, and it was a crossover between The Flash and then in Impulse's own title, which was had just become a spinoff, where Impulse had come back in time and all this kind of stuff. But instead of staying like in Young Justice, where he stays with Jay Garrick, theoretically, we haven't seen that yet, but theoretically he lives with Jay Garrick. in here, he lives with a guy named Max Mercury, who is a time-jumping speedster as well, who actually predates Jay Garrick, if I remember correctly. So he's living with a Jay Garrick kind of stand-in character. And it's a great... those first dozen issues that Mark Waid writes are amazing. The art is fantastic. Dead Heat is a great story. It introduces the villain of Savitar, who I think is going to be introduced in the next season of the live-action TV series as well. Go check that out. So we'll have links to the Dead Heat Impulse Flash crossover arc from Comixology. Again, I think there's 6 issues, $1.99 each. Same with the Flash Zero Hour, and get an idea of some of the history and some of the more interesting things that have happened with these characters. And I think with that, we can wrap up this mission and head out of the Watchtower. The best way to support the show is to share it with a friend. You can also support us with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Leaving a rating or review pushes us up in the search ranks and helps other people find the show.
And please continue to #BuyYJComics on Comixology so that you can read along with us while we talk about each issue. And buy the show somewhere online until the DC streaming service launches. You can also now use #YoungJusticeOutsiders when talking about the series online, and if you want to help us get more episodes, more Secret Origins, more actual play podcasts, and more of all the other stuff that we make, please consider supporting us through Patreon. For just a few dollars a month, you can help us do even more with the show while getting some great rewards for yourself. And remember,
stay whelmed, everyone.
You've been listening to Whelmed, the Young Justice Files podcast. Our hosts are Rich Howard and Emily Booza. Our editor and producer is Neal Powell. Our theme was composed by Emily Mio. Our logo was created by Kevin Bates. Whelmed is a fan-made podcast and is not officially affiliated with DC Comics, DC Entertainment, Warner Brothers Animation, and any other owners of Young Justice or its related source material. As such, these companies have sole ownership of all symbols, images, names, logos, and proprietary material related to Young Justice. Original content of this podcast is ours under Creative Commons. Thanks for listening, and stay whelmed.